Welcome to episode 3 of Triple Coverage Fantasy Podcast. We are back. We're going to be talking wide receivers. It's the sexy pick. If you're in a PPR, you're in a half point PPR league, wide receivers. I am one of 3 hosts. My name is Bradley. We're going to kick it down to.
What
What's
up? What
going?
up? This is Eric. Wide receiver is my favorite position.
There you go. There you go. What's going on, everybody? I'm Zach. I think the last couple of years has been really fun for this position, so it's going to be even more fun to talk about in the coming years. So this is probably definitely my favorite podcast that we'll shoot for rankings for sure.
Yes. And I mean, let's just talk about it. Wide receiver it's a position that continuously get richer and richer and richer and richer each year. So it is going to be a dynamic one. Again, you can like, share, subscribe. Triple Coverage Fantasy Podcast, presented by the Suplex Dinner Club. And again, we're going to do our top 10 wide receiver rankings for today. I want to kick it off here, all right? And we are going to talk about it. Number 1 wide receiver. Gentlemen, there's a lot of stuff brewing. There's holdouts. There's talks of holdouts. There's been new additions to the team here. But when I think about the number 1 wide receiver coming off the season this guy had, it's hard for me not to go with CeeDee Lamb here. I have CeeDee as my number 1 pick. I have CeeDee, and I know Tyreek is out there. That CeeDee to Dak Prescott, that connection, just coming off last year, it's hard not to be excited about it. I gotta go CeeDee Lamb. Number 2, I have Tyreek Hill. Tyreek will be Tyreek. I trust that. I just feel like CeeDee is going to have another dynamic year. And I got CeeDee 1, Tyreek 2. Number 3, I went with Jamar Chase here. I don't know what to say outside of I think him and Burrows are going to have a dynamic season. I know like everybody's waiting for the contract situation and what's going to be going on. So I have Jamar Chase there at 3. If there was a little bit more certainty about the contract, I don't know. I just don't see him going over CeeDee or Tyreek. But 4, I got your guy, Eric J. Jettas. I know you are a fan of his game. So at 4, I got Justin Jefferson. At number 5, my top 5 receiver, I have USC alumni, Mr. 1,500 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Fight on for victory. I have him in my top 5 slot. Everybody's expecting explosiveness out of the Lions offense. Again, unless something goofy happens, I don't see this offense being as I don't see this offense not being as advertised. So I have him again as a top 5 receiver for fantasy pick. Now at number 6, I got to go A.J. Brown here. A.J. Brown should not be falling. He should be in that 5 to 6 range. He shouldn't fall no lower than that. I think A.J. Brown's going to have a more explosive season. You're adding Saquon there as well. It takes a little bit off of the pressure for guarding those wide receivers. So I have A.J. Brown comfortably at 6. Him and St. Brown could be swapped, but because I am a USC Trojan fan here, there's no way he's going above St. Brown. Number 7 here, and I don't know where he's going to place on you guys' list here. I believe in Puka. Puka Nacua, I have him at 7 on my list comfortably. I think he has another dynamic season. I actually think Cooper Kupp is going to rebound and have another great season as well. But I have Puka here at number 7. He's a great pick. He's comfortable. If you're at that bottom of the first round, I would take a chance there. Early second round, if he's there, I'd take a chance there. Number 8, Garrett Wilson. I told you guys before, I love the connection between Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers is healthy, I love the connection with him and Garrett Wilson, but we're going to talk further about that connection later because I have a question for the fellas, so stay tuned on that. Number 9, I have Devontae Adams. I'm hearing Devontae is disgruntled. So I have I have him at number 9. We'll see how the season plays out for Devontae. He's still an explosive receiver. If he's healthy all season, um, you know, again, if he can string some consistent great games, I know last year in a few leagues he was kind of being traded around. The name was there, but the consistency kind of wasn't for multiple different reasons. So I seen Devontae Adams get traded around a bit last year. And to close out my top 10, I'm going with Marvin Harrison Jr. I love it. I love everything about him. Top 10, I don't think he's a reach. I think he's dynamic. And I think we're going to see a 1,200 yard, 10 touchdown season from Marvin Harrison Jr. I have Marvin Harrison Jr. at top 10 wide receiver.
Wow.
Just to touch on what you said a minute ago, would you not be disgruntled if your starting quarterback was Gardner Minshew?
Hey, man.
I mean,
Hey, man.
This man went from Aaron Rodgers to Jimmy Garoppolo to Aiden O'Connell
Mm. You
to
forgot about Derek Carr.
Gardner.
You forgot about that year he
I
had with
didn't
Derek
forget
Carr.
about. I didn't forget about Derek Carr.
The
Nobody cares
world
about
forgot
Derek
about
Carr.
Derek Carr.
Yeah, he's in New Orleans. That's all. That's yeah. Bye. To Gardner flipping Minshew, man. What are we doing?
Gardner the mullet Minshew, baby. Let's go.
Golly.
I think they made the right call though.
All
Over
right.
O'Connell. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Minshew at least can semi-play,
Complete
but
a
not
pass.
really. But yeah. All right. To start off this list, I went back and forth a bunch of different times with holdouts, craziness, uh, owners not willing to pay top receivers. My number 1 is my favorite wide receiver in the freaking league, Jay Jetta. Even with that trash bag, Sam Darnold throwing him a football.
hey, now.
Nah, USC quarterbacks are trash in the NFL. Um, just like their wide receivers usually, except that's kind of been broke off a little bit. But no offense, sorry, Brad. I think it doesn't matter who's going to throw this man the football. He's going to catch it. He's going to score. He's going to get 1,500 yards. He's going to be consensus 1 for me. Shout out to LSU for the wide receivers that they continuously pump into the league. Thank you guys. That's the best thing you do all year, and you help me win fantasy.
Well, I mean,
Number 2,
they have those games every season where it's like 60 to
yeah,
65 against Ole Miss, so that's always fun to watch.
exactly. Um, Number 2, I got the Cheetah. I got Tyreek Hill. Um, it amazes me how good this man is, how fast this man is, how steady his hands are. I don't think you can have much better of a wide receiver than Tyreek Hill. He's almost a perfect wide receiver in my opinion. Number 3, I have another LSU guy, Jamar Chase. I think that Jamar's holdout will end by the end of this week. I think he'll be ready to go by week 1. I think him and Burrow are going to hook up for a lot of passes, a lot of touchdowns. It's going to be great. Number 4, I have your USC boy. I have Amon-Ra St. Brown. I was high on Amon-Ra his rookie year. I think I drafted him in my Dynasty League in the first round just because I absolutely loved his profile. I did trade him, but it was the hardest thing that I ever did. And I love the profile. I love the offense. I think Amon-Ra and J-Mo are going to be an insane duo this year. But I love Amon-Ra. Number 5, I have CeeDee Lamb. All right, so let's talk about this, guys. I don't think CeeDee Lamb sees the field before week 3.
Ooh, wow.
Mm.
Wow.
I do not. I think his holdout. He is going to hold out. He wants that back. His like we said off air. His holdout is different than Jamar Chase's holdout. Jamar doesn't want to, get the bag. He wants to win.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to pay Jamar what Jamar wants.
Mm-hmm.
He will be back.
Mm-hmm.
CeeDee Lamb wants to set the market.
Yes.
CeeDee Lamb wants to get paid.
100%.
CeeDee Lamb doesn't care who pays him. And Jerry Jones ain't going to do it because Jerry Jones is cheap.
I think, man, I just think the backlash from that would be insane. I think
that's why he's going to sign week 3 because Jerry Jones is eventually going to go, crap. We
Yeah.
need somebody for Dak Prescott to throw the ball to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a PR
And
nightmare.
yeah. And Michael Gallup and Brandon Cooks. Look, I love Brandon Cooks. Dude got us to a Super Bowl like before he got power bombed by the Eagles. Brandon Cooks at 30 plus is not a 1. Gallup is not a 1.
No, not all season. No.
No.
Definitely not.
So they're going to try it. They're going to realize that CeeDee is going to be the answer to that. They're going to give him his bag. And that's why I have him so low on this list because I think he misses a couple of games. Could be wrong. Who knows? But that's kind of where I'm standing with it. Number 6, I like Puka. I like Puka a lot, especially in a PPR league. Puka's going to get a lot of catches. Cooper Kupp's going to get a lot of catches. I do think Cooper Kupp's usage is kind of going to flip-flop with Puka. I believe Puka is the number 1 receiver on that team, and I think he's going to get a lot of catches. He's going to get Wes Welker, Julian Edelman kind of catches, 100 catches, we'll call it. Number 7, I have A.J. Brown. Again, like we stated in the quarterback pod, Jalen Hurts is going to throw the ball to AJ. Jalen Hurts is going to throw the ball to Devontae. It's going to be an insane offense. But I think A.J. Brown's going to get the usage, which sucks because I have 1B of that on my fantasy team. But I love A.J. Brown's profile. Dude's good. I'm so glad he got out of Tennessee a couple of years ago. I like him. Number 8 is my first rookie. I have Marvin Harrison Jr. I like his profile a lot, guys. I wanted him at number 3. Bradley, we talked about this. I did not want Drake May. I thought the answer was getting Mac Jones a wide receiver and bolstering that offense.
Absolutely.
I think Drake May is trash. Sorry, Drake, if you listen to this podcast, I don't think you are an NFL quarterback. I love Marvin Harrison Jr. I watched so much Ohio State because of this man, and I hate Ohio State. I do not think you were wrong. I think a 1,500-yard season is 100% almost guaranteed with Marvin Harrison because Kyler Murray has no other weapons. And then number 9, I have Drake London. I like Atlanta's offense.
Fight on.
Yeah, I know. I trashed USC's wide receivers and quarterbacks a couple of minutes ago, and I have 2 of them in my top 10.
Life.
I know, right? It hits you quick. I like Drake London. I do think that he has not reached his ceiling in the NFL yet because he has not had quarterback play. This year, regardless of if it's Kirk Cousins or maybe eventually down the line Michael Penix, I think he finally has a good quarterback that's going to use him and use Kyle Pitts and use Bijan Robinson. I think this is going to be the year we see a Drake London breakout. Number 10
like it.
I like Drake.
Eric.
I like Drake London. Man. I told you, wide receiver is my favorite position. I love it. I love wide receiver. Number 10, Garrett Wilson.
I'm sorry. Can you say that one more time, please?
No,
just a little louder for me.
I hate Garrett Wilson. I hate the Jets.
Understandable, especially right now because they're good and we
Are they?
are building. So
Are they?
projected to be good, rather.
Yeah, paper, they're great.
Until Aaron Rodgers shreds his other Achilles.
Yeah, that turf will get them. That's what happens
Let's go,
when you're
Eric. I kind
40
of
when
like
you're
your
old.
list better than mine, Eric. Let's go.
Hey,
You got
look,
two
Definitely,
Trojans
definitely.
on there.
I and I could be 100% wrong with CD. Like I understand that he is a top 2 wide receiver, but I just do not think that he plays in at least 2 games because of this holdout. And I think that Jerry Jones is going to be forced to make a decision whether or not he wants to pay CeeDee Lamb or if he wants to pay Dak Prescott. And the answer is CeeDee Lamb. You can get another quarterback. I'm not even 100% sure Dak Prescott is the quarterback. Like I don't think Dak Prescott is that good. I'm sorry.
That's
I
fine. He's better than
Yeah.
Trey Lance.
So
So,
well,
so just to, just for our viewers, so far we have lost the Drake May interview and we have lost the Dak Prescott interview. Thank you, Eric. All
but we
right.
got
Yeah.
the AR-15 interview. We got the
Okay.
AR-15 interview. That's all that
Cool. We'll
matters.
take it. We'll take it. All right. So listen, Zach, top 10 wide receivers. I know you said you were ecstatic to go ahead and share your list and talk about wide receivers. So we're going to go ahead and get your list first. Then we're going to do some more talking about wide receivers in fantasy football.
Um, we're talking purely fantasy football here, guys. That's why we're doing this podcast. I think a lot of our rankings kind of get blurred with how we feel about players when it comes to rankings, just as a whole, right? But we're talking fantasy football here. That's the reason for this podcast. I saw you doing this a lot. I don't know if that's like USC's thing, but
Yeah. Fight on for Victor.
my number one is going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown. I
Hey.
have not wavered
Let's
from that.
go.
I have not wavered from that at all, nor will I. You can't convince me otherwise. I love the next 2 guys on this list, but I think Amon-Ra is just that guy that's going to, this year and next year, just be that fantasy guy that you're like, I gotta get Amon-Ra. That's my consensus 101 when it comes to receiver. I'll do it at if I get
like it.
if I get second or third pick, I'm picking Amon-Ra, right?
I
love
like it.
Yeah. I think that's. I mean, he's just
Yes.
hands down. I mean, look at what he did last year, man. Like he was so close. He was so close. And playing through that injury, that type of injury as a receiver, playing through that and still breaking records, man. That kid. Kudos to that kid. I love that kid. So fight on, Amon-Ra. We got him at number 1.
Yes, sir.
Number 2 is Tyreek Hill. I mean, he's the cheetah, dude. He's unbearably good at that position. Like it's tough to
It's
watch.
not fair.
It's not. It's not cool at all. He's so like it's literally he'll break off for 5 catches for 200 yards and I'll be like, all right, I'm sitting down for the rest of the game. And you don't need him to play the whole game. Like you're just like, thanks, Tyreek, appreciate it. So you get a solid quarter and a half out of Tyreek, and we're happy, right? This is where it gets kind of jumbled. 3. See, I'm still debating. 3, I'll go CeeDee. I think you're right. I think that there will be a slight holdout. I don't think it'll be as long as you thought, Eric, but I do think that they will definitely be in talks for most of the off season leading into the season and a couple of weeks in. I think he starts game 3. I think that's very up there in the realm of possibility. Number 4, I got Jamar Chase. I think we've all talked about it. It's definitely different. It's definitely a different contract talk. He just wants to secure a future with a certain team. He wants to end as a Bengal the same way he started. He wants to play with Burrow as long as he possibly can. And I think we do have an Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams type connection there. And so I think that as long as he has A, his quarterback, and B, just stability, he's going to re-sign and he'll play week 1 for sure. Not a doubt in my mind. Up next, I have A.J. Brown. I really, really like A.J. Brown. I really, really like the quarterback play that he's getting out of Jalen Hurts. He's made Jalen Hurts better, in my opinion. Having that kind of receiver on the right-hand side has just made Jalen Hurts tremendously better. It helps that on the other side he's got Devonta Smith, but I mean on that he's just got so many possibilities, and he's becoming such a better quarterback because of wide receiver play, and a lot of that has to do with that trade that they made with AJ Brown and Tennessee. All right, you guys are gonna get real mad here in a second. I feel like, especially you, Eric. Up next, I have Garrett Wilson. I think that connection with Aaron Rodgers,
I'm not mad at that.
yeah, is going to be just one of those situations where it's just like, holy, like we're going to watch it all season and be like, it can't get better, and then it gets better every week, right? We're gonna start him easy, 6 catches, 90 yards, and a tutty, and then by the end of the season, he's going to have 15 catches, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like that's the kind of player that Garrett Wilson can be. Absolutely, that's the dynamic that he provides.
Long as he's not on long as it's not on the Patriots.
Well, you got to play him. You got to play him quite a few times. You got to play him twice, so we'll see.
Christian Gonzalez going to hold him to under 50 yards.
Hey, look here, man. I would not be mad at it. I wouldn't be mad. I love that he's coming back for y'all. I think he's going to be a great weapon for y'all defensively. Next on my list is Puka Nacua. I absolutely love Puka. I think that he's just that guy that was just like, oh, wow, how did we watch this guy for so long and think, oh, he'll never be a wide receiver 1 in the NFL. And then just his first year in is just like, all right, watch this. he took off. It helped that Kupp got hurt for sure. But I think even with Kupp back and the relationship that he has with Stafford, I think they both know that Puka's the guy. I think Kupp and Stafford have had that conversation behind closed doors. Like, let's feed this kid. He's the future of this team. Let's do that. Number 9, right? I'm at 9. Yeah, number 9. I got Jay Jettis. He fell significantly hard for me due to the
right.
quarterback.
I was wondering when he was coming.
Yeah, all offseason he just had just like who's throwing him the ball, and now we got Sam Darnold throwing him the ball, which in my opinion is still better than JJ McCarthy for now. Like, I always had Sam Darnold starting the season, but I did have McCarthy taken over at some point. We now know that that's not going to happen. They went out and got Corral, right? Like Matt Corral from the UFL. They went out and got him, so great pickup, Minnesota. You guys are doing wonderful, man. Just good job. 10 was hard. 10 was probably the most difficult choice for me because I had to pick between being a homer or being a fantasy expert, right? And this podcast is to this podcast is to give information that we love and have, and the knowledge that we've built over the years to give to you guys as the viewers. That's why we're here, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going Drake London at 10. I'm going to be the homer. I love our offense, man. I think that we're going to be so crazy good this year. We've talked about it off air. I do think that yardage that I gave y'all is going to be really consistent with Drake London. But I'd love to see him smash that just like year 1 and just make me look so dumb about the Falcons. Like, if he can build a great chemistry with Kirk, which I mean they've looked pretty decent, you know what I mean? And he's doing private sessions with Michael Penix, and like they're getting a connection built, they're getting chemistry built. I think Drake London can really break out in the next couple of years for sure. But that leads me to not have Devontae Adams in my top 10 for the first time in like 10 years.
That's okay. I didn't either.
Yeah,
it's life. It's life.
Yeah, it happens. But I love that top 10. I think that's a really good top 10. I hated that Justin Jefferson fell as hard as he did because I had him at 4.
Great top 10.
You know what I mean? Like, I had him at 4 all off season, and then the quarterback thing just kept making me doubt kept creeping into my head. Just kept creeping, and then they were like, "Yeah, solidified Sam Darnold." I was like, "Drop it."
It's fair. I mean, that's fair.
Listen, if Sam Darnold surprised you guys this season, I'm just saying.
Oh, I mean, kudos.
I just hope he's not seeing ghosts.
All right, so now it's time for the $1 million question. Which wide receiver is the first one off the board, and which pick, which round? Zach, I'm going to throw it back to you. Let me know which wide receiver is going first, which pick, which round.
Just from everything I've seen from mock drafts and like real drafts that I've done so far this year, it's always been CeeDee, right? You can always make the the conversation to add Tyreek Hill. It could always be that 1A, 1B type situation for wide receiver one. Um, they're going two. They're going 102 for sure. There's not another running back that's better than taking an elite wide receiver one other than CMC. So, yeah, I say CeeDee at 102 is just everything I've seen kind of shows, and the math kind of adds up. And even with the contract talks, people are still snagging him at that position. His ADP has not faltered at all in any of the platforms, not ESPN, not Yahoo, not NFL, not Sleeper. Like, none of them have taken, even with all this contract stuff, have dropped him a millimeter from his original ADP as 102. So I think that shows a lot in the faith that the community of fantasy football has in CeeDee Lamb and what he's going to provide for a lot of teams this year for fantasy. So yeah, I think 102 CeeDee would be exactly what's going to happen in most of your drafts.
And Eric, what do you got? Where are you going? Wide receiver, first one off the board, and which pick?
I'm right there with him. 102, CeeDee Lamb. Contract dispute aside, like I said, he's a top 2 wide receiver. I think you could make the case for Bijan at 102, but again, I agree. You need that one, like that solid ace at wide receiver, and I think even with the contract dispute, it's CeeDee Lamb.
For me, I do have CeeDee as my number one wide receiver. I just feel like Tyreek is gonna go 102. I have Tyreek there. He's gonna get tons of receptions. And coming off the year he came off last year, we got to go Tyreek again. So I got Tyreek there. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna have to record that over because I think I heard my daughter in the background. So let's see, 11:04, re-record. All right. So I'll let Adrian know. All right.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. Let me wait till she go in the room. All right. So first receiver I have off the board is Tyreek Hill. Now I do know I picked CeeDee Lamb at number 1, but with receptions and that explosive Miami offense, I see Tyreek being the first wide receiver off the board with the second pick.
You could, and like I said, man, that could easily be what happens, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't fade. Like, I wouldn't blink and be like, oh my god, I can't believe somebody just took Tyreek at 102. It makes sense. Like, he had the most yards last year, and he's a very dynamic player. What he does for that offense is completely different than what any other receiver does for their team. But I think that if we are accounting for what exactly, there is no wide receiver 2 in my opinion in Dallas, right? It's going to be a battle all season for who gets those extra catches and yards, right? I think that Waddle is so good in Miami that kind of takes away from Tyreek just a little bit, which is why I put CeeDee over Tyreek Hill.
Have you ever had Waddle on your fantasy team, Zach?
I've had Waddle on my fantasy team last year, and I have so much stock in him this year that it's insane. Insane.
For me, it seems like he drops. I don't know. I just felt like he dropped a lot of passes. Maybe I'm tripping, but
I will take a
pissed
receiver
me off last season.
I will take a receiver that is dropping passes because he's getting so many balls thrown to him.
Volume.
Yeah. Just give me the volume. Yeah, just give me the targets. He's gonna catch them. You know what I mean? Like, okay, that he's dropped a few. Sure, all receivers do. But if he's getting those looks, if he's getting those targets from his quarterback, that means that he's getting looked for. Pick him up, guys.
Yep.
He's going 5-6 round. Snag him. Get him in that 5th round. Look like a genius and get him in the 4th because he's going to have an outstanding fantasy season.
Which that actually leads me into a question. Outside of you guys' top 10, who is somebody that you're looking at in the mid rounds to give you a 1B to your 1A?
Brad, you want to take that one first?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Wicks out of Green Bay. I think he's gonna have a better season as advertised. I can see him doing 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns. Wicks in Green Bay, without a question, without a doubt.
Wow, without a doubt. That's. I mean, I love the confidence. DJ Moore is going to be a guy for me. I know that wide receiver room is super stacked, but I just think the Bears wouldn't have signed him to the biggest contract and long-term contract if they didn't think that he was their wide receiver one, right? Love Keenan Allen. He's aging. You put him in the slot, he's going to give you dynamic points in fantasy. Rome Odunze is going to grow to be a great wide receiver, but right now they have a great wide receiver in DJ Moore. I'm super excited to see what he provides for fantasy.
Absolutely. I've kind of got three different guys here, and it's crazy because they're all 1Bs on their team. Waddle, I'm all in on Waddle. That is again probably my homer bias. Roll Tide. Devontae Smith, he won a Heisman, man. Like, dude's one of the best wide receivers in the game. Slim
Absolutely.
Reaper is a 1A on any other team when AJ Brown is not their 1A.
Yeah.
And then this guy is a rookie, but I think the volume's going to be there for him. And I think me and Zach are both high on him. Xavier Worthy. I think Worthy is going to have
absolutely
a 1,200-yard season. He has looked phenomenal in the preseason. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to fall in love with how good Xavier Worthy is. May give him a little more volume than Travis Kelce.
Oh, for sure. I 100% agree with that. I think Travis knows that it's probably going to be his last hoorah. They want to ride off into the sunset and three-peat, which they possibly could. But Xavier Worthy is that new guy. He's already showing us in preseason more than Rashee Rice showed us all season last year. And Rashee Rice is a great receiver. But we're seeing things that are Worthy, man, that's just going to be like, oh, he's the next Tyreek Hill.
He's getting open with ease. Ease, he's getting open.
He's shedding those fucking corners, man. Like, he is crushing them in preseason. It's just like they didn't even exist. It's like he's just running routes. Yeah, it's insane. Yeah.
Like the just straight up route running ability that Xavier Worthy has, and the moves, the shiftiness. It's going to be hard to cover that man, and I have him at number 18 on my list, but I could see him going up.
100%.
So, Eric, you got to tell us, who's going to be your first receiver off the board and at which pick?
Oh, I said CeeDee at 2.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. So we're in agreement with CeeDee. All right. So, listen, here's another question. Of our top 10, which wide receiver is most likely to get traded by midseason?
Zach, do we want to say this at the same time, or
do you want to? Yeah, 3, 2, 1. Davante Adams.
Davante. Well, he's not in my top 10, so I was going to say Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, he's not in my top 10 either. But I mean, that is pretty much going to be what we feel like the straight up kind of swap is going to be. But yeah, I think
Garrett Wilson for Davante Adams.
Straight up. Yeah. Gone. Yeah. It's just the easiest one to.
Garrett and Aaron Rodgers hate each other. So why not? I mean, it makes all the sense in the world for a rebuilding Vegas to trade their, I'm not going to say aging star, but their clear wide receiver one who's not going to get as much volume with Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, and give him his quarterback, and it can get Garrett Wilson to a rebuilding team that's going to clearly draft a quarterback next year.
Yeah,
that's why I was like, absolutely. That's why I was asking you, are we sure that Garrett Wilson's going to get that volume? Are we sure? Because, I mean, as it stands right now, Aaron Rodgers is going to maybe throw him the ball. Is Aaron Rodgers petty enough to, like, freeze him out?
No,
Rodgers isn't. He's not that petty.
Yeah,
Rodgers has something to prove.
Yeah, we saw that with Jennings too, because they had beef in Green Bay, and he was still looking for him all the time. Rodgers is a quarterback. He wants to win. He's a 4-time MVP.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that out of being petty. He does that because of ayahuasca.
Absolutely, and I agree with that. But yeah, I think. Now I know a lot of listeners probably went, "Are you serious?" But I think that the Jets are going to do whatever it takes to get Devontae Adams by end October, start of November.
That's pretty early in the season. I'd say right at the tail end of November, right before December hits,
I
right before the
I
playoff
think Aaron
push.
Rodgers is already in Salah's ear. Hey, what do we have to do to get Devontae? Hey, what do we
Yeah,
have to do to get
probably,
Devontae? What are we doing? What are we doing?
Question:
probably so.
is there a possibility the Jets don't move Garrett Wilson and still obtain Devontae Adams?
No way.
I
Not if
mean,
I'm Las Vegas. There's absolutely no way.
it would take so much draft capital because they are in a rebuild. It would
Mm.
literally take the Jets next like 4 first round picks.
I
Like
was
that's
gonna
what
say three
they're not
first
going to get
rounders
that.
and Sauce
Yeah,
Gardner.
yeah, but that's
For
never going to
Devontae
happen. Right?
Adams,
Mm-hmm.
So it's
I can see a first and a fourth.
Mm-mm. That's
hmm,
not enough for me in a rebuild.
not in a rebuild.
For
Absolutely
Devontae
not.
Adams, I can
I
see
mean,
if Adams was
he's our best
like
player
he
who we've
has
already
what?
paid.
Yep,
He's our best player who we've already paid, who you need because of the connection that he has with Rodgers, right? I'll keep him at what I'm
exactly.
paying him for.
Yeah,
You have to give me something in return, right? I'm in a full rebuild as Vegas, right? I'm not taking
yep.
anything less than 3 first round picks. Nothing less.
Unless you're
And
trading me
I'm
Garrett Wilson.
boom. And then you're still
Yeah,
giving me a fourth or a third.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
100%.
And if you don't want to give me Garrett Wilson, cool. I'll take as many first round draft picks as you're willing to give me and give
Mm-hmm.
me Sauce Gardner. You don't want to give me that? Cool. I'm cool. I've already paid him. He can
Yeah,
sit here. He can
he
be
can
pissed.
he
He
can
can
be
hold
as
out.
angry as he
But
wants to be. Yeah,
yeah, he's
yeah,
still here.
yeah.
Catching passes from
Yeah.
Gardner Minshew.
Quinn Ewers next
Well,
year.
see,
So
it's gonna
Shador
be
Sanders.
all right. So there you have it. That was our top 10 wide receiver list, and it's gonna be an amazing season. Triple Coverage Fantasy Pod will be here every Tuesday and every Saturday with your waiver wire pickups and your lineup suggestions. So make sure you stay tuned with us. All right, now, fellas, before we close, let's close with something fun. We talked about quarterbacks, running backs, wide receiver. Let's take fantasy off the board. Tell me your favorite position in football and favorite player in that position right now.
Um, I'll go wide receiver. Just because there's so much depth at wide receiver, and it's always fun to just watch the corners and the receivers match up. And my favorite wide receiver is Jay Jetta. Like, dude, from watching him from LSU and going from LSU to Minnesota, just his game is only improved. Uh, If he had a solid quarterback, even more solid than Kirk Cousins, sorry, Zach, I think that he would be a consensus. If you would have swapped Jamar and Jetta, if Jetta would have wound up in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow, he's a consensus one in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Consensus.
Okay.
absolutely, I 100% agree with that. That'd be wild. There,
That'd be
I know that
insane.
there was talks too, like towards the end of last season, about shipping Jettas to Cincinnati and having that 1 and 2. And I was just like, there's no way they could pay both of them. Like, there's just no shot.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? And pay Burrow. You know what I mean? But that would have been bringing back the LSU team from
Gross.
2019 would be insane, right? Just put them in the pros. I'm going to touch
Yeah.
on a position that we haven't talked about. I think right now my favorite position in the game is tight end. I think
Let's go.
they're becoming way more dynamic. They're becoming way more
Yeah.
useful in offenses. The usage that they're getting has seen a huge uptick since Travis Kelce has just broken records, right? And I think my favorite right now is Dalton Kincaid. I think he's going to be that
Wow.
guy that we all kind of forgot about when we're doing these ranking systems, that, oh, Josh Allen doesn't really have anybody to throw to. He's going to be
Mm-hmm.
chunking that ball to Dalton Kincaid. You know what I mean? Like, he's
Yeah.
going to find him in the end zone. He's going to find him for chunk plays of 20, 10, 15 yards. He's going to be that guy that even if Keon Coleman doesn't work out, Josh Allen still has somebody to chunk that ball to. Also, another one is, you were saying that Marvin Harrison is the only human being that Kyler Murray has. He's got Trey McBride. That
Perfect
kid showed
ride.
us.
Yep.
Yeah, that kid showed us last year exactly who the hell he is. You know what I mean? Like he was like,
Yeah.
"I'm here, guys. I'm in the NFL. I'm playing. I got drafted. Like let's make this happen." So I love that position a whole lot. I think it's going to be really fun to watch this year with how much talent has come in the last couple of years in that position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's my take on it.
All right, and I'll close the show with my favorite position being uh, defensive back. I love a game-sealing interception. I love the defensive chess match against wide receiver. Currently, right now, I'm still high on Jalen Ramsey. Although I feel like Christian Gonzalez is about to be one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the NFL. So Gonzo, salute to you, shout out to you. But my favorite non-fantasy position is defensive back. So fellas, it was a great recording today. And again, for everybody watching, we will be here every Tuesday and every Saturday for your fantasy needs. Triple Coverage Fantasy Podcast, powered by Suplex Dinner Club. I'm Bradley, that's Eric, and that's Zach. We will see you guys. Salute. Enjoy the rest of the preseason. And hey, draft responsibly. And let us know in the comments below what your team is looking like. We'll be here all season. So we're going to be talking fantasy. We're going to be talking some ups, downs, highs, lows, all the good stuff in between. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day.